Alrighty, so it's been a while since I made a video in here. Or not. No, this is a different channel. Anyways, this channel here is gonna be for just my interest as a whole. I love watching documentaries. I love technology, all the interesting things that are going on in my present lifetime that I have an interest in will be on this channel. So it won't really be financed or trading based. Um, Probably like talk about AI, technology, nanotechnology, politics, um, pretty much whatever's going on in the news that I find interesting, or just documentaries or anything that's on the web. So yeah, um, so this is a documentary. It's going to be pretty long, but I'll probably break it down so it's not like an hour plus long, unless I get some feedback that says that these should be longer. So the name of this video is, oh, let's switch screen, is Apocalypse Surviving the World's Most Polluted City. I don't know what city they're talking about, but based off everything that I've seen so far, I know it's somewhere in India. Um, it's weird to me that India and China are the most uh, polluted cities or countries. But let's see what they have to talk about in this documentary. I don't know how long the video will be, but hopefully you enjoy it. Peace. Oh, no peace, but let's get to the video.
Every day, Delhi welcomes about 1,000 babies into the world. They have their whole lives ahead of them.
Okay, so I think they're talking about New Delhi, and that's interesting that there's 1,000 babies. For some reason, I thought there would be way more in a city. 1,000 babies a day, that's 365 babies a year, 366 babies in a leap year. But what's I gonna say? Um, oh yeah, I want to give a shout out to, this is called Free Documentary, as you can see at the top. The YouTube channel is pretty cool for documentaries.
A life that will very likely include asthma, heart defects.
Interesting fact, I have asthma. Yeah, that's how it looks like it's pronounced, but it's asthma. I have asthma. It sucks. It sucked really when I was younger, but it hasn't affected me as much in my adult years, thank God. I remember having an asthma attack was horrible when I was a kid.
Brain damage. Because they've been born into the air pollution capital of the world.
I did not know New Delhi was that polluted.
Exposure to air pollution is one of the commonest causes of death in children under 5 years of age.
In November 2019, Delhi's air becomes especially toxic.
You're literally waking up, getting out of your house, going through a gas chamber.
Planes are diverted. Schools are shut down. Local officials declare a public health emergency. The government urges people to stay indoors.
समस्या का समाधान मास्क पहनना और घर में बैठना है क्या?
But Delhi residents are instead taking to the streets in record numbers, demanding change. Can Delhi turn things around? Undercover Asia investigates the battle to prevent another apocalypse.
Okay, before this starts, what do you think is the cause for pollution in Delhi? Do you think it's solely like cars or industrialized like machinery factories or whatever other type of factory would contribute to pollution? Or is it like a lack of trees? Like, what is it that you think? And I'm gonna say my opinion. I think it's more so the cars, and I won't say solely anything. I would say it's a combination of all of them. But I would think cars would be, or like mopeds and motorcycles and those type of things would be a little bit more the cause for the pollution in Delhi. But it's been like that for like over a decade. Because I remember seeing it on the news that they had a huge pollution problem out there when I was in high school. Come.
I mean, I always had this urge that I wanted to come back to Delhi. I mean, Delhi is where I belong to. I always felt that I miss the food, my family, friends, and my circle has been in Delhi, and that's why I wanted to come back to Delhi and be in Delhi forever, actually.
April 2018. Vaibhav Wadhan and his wife Nishu moved from Hyderabad into their new home in Delhi, India's capital city.
I joined here into a supply chain consulting role, and it was quite an exciting opportunity with an American MNC. I felt that, okay, this is the right move and I'm making the right decisions.
8 months after the move, the couple welcomes their first child into the world.
First the job, then my kid. I couldn't have asked more.
But less than a year later, everything changes. The family is under siege. November 2019, Delhi's air turns deadly.
I couldn't take out my kid outside of my home. He was almost under a house arrest.
It was really very difficult seeing him. He was not able to sleep properly. Around 10 or 20 times we used to wake up. Then during the daytime also, if I cannot take him outside, not even in the balcony. So he used to be very cranky because he wants to see outside.
The toxic smog descends on Delhi. It becomes
So for situations like that, this is just something that comes to mind. It would be an interesting business idea to create a facility that simulated outside, like an outside atmosphere with fresh air and like a dome, maybe on the top of buildings, or maybe there's a thing. There's like a little dome thing in downtown Toronto. I think it's like golf or baseball. But I think it would be interesting and profitable to have something where like kids could play in New Delhi that had fresh air, but had the simulation of outside. That way that they can like play outside without having to be shut indoors or having to breathe difficult air. So if you are in New Delhi and you do decide to use this business, I want my percentage.
the most polluted major city in the world. Delhi's air is officially declared hazardous.
Any city other and in New Delhi. So if you use this idea in China or anywhere else in the world, let me get a percent.
And it stays that way for 9 days.
The air quality index in New Delhi stood at about 400.
In a World Health Organization ranking of the
For weeks, the crisis dominates headlines around the world.
Almost 40 planes had to be diverted.
Well, schools in India remain shut for the second day as air pollution in the capital,
remains
New
at
Delhi,
hazardous
surged.
levels, triggering anger among the public as it takes a toll on their health.
The Environment Pollution Control Authority in Delhi declares a public health emergency, advising people in the nation's capital to minimize exposure to the pollution by staying indoors. But many of Delhi's residents brave the poisonous air to make their voices heard. Young and old, they take to the streets in unprecedented numbers to demand action by the authorities to clean up Delhi's air. One of the demonstrators is 16-year-old Aditya Dubey, a green warrior since 2016. Aditya has been campaigning for a healthier environment with his Plant a Million Trees initiative. Now, he's on a more personal crusade.
Take a deep inhalation. Exhale it. Exhale, 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 exhale. Keep on exhaling, keep on exhaling. Inhale it again.
In this test, we look at various parameters. How much you are inhaling in each breath, how fast you are inhaling. So one parameter which is very important is called FEV1. FEV1 is what percentage of air we are able to exhale in the first second of the breath. So your FEV1 is showing the value less than 80% of the predicted, which means that there is some amount of obstruction. So at your age, your value is actually on the lower side.
Earlier I used to play tennis and now I can't do that. I also have difficulty in sleeping. I wake up in the middle of the night due to breathlessness. The November crisis did make me very angry because a lot of students were suffering from difficulty in breathing due to pollution levels.
I live between Canada and the US, mostly in the US because I'm a US citizen. But I wonder if this is somewhat of a foreshadowing for North America, because I don't think it's too many North America countries, or not North America, but America countries, you know, Canada, well, North America, Central America, and South America, Americas. So I wonder if what's going on there, because I know not every single day is crazy pollution for New Delhi or any other major city that does have pollution issues. I'm curious what causes the pollution. So is it nearby cities that the wind is bringing over? So we'll probably make another video later on, but I remember, I think it was in 2022 or 2023 in Canada, there are some fires, like maybe an hour or two away from Toronto, and the smoke and the pollution and all that stuff was traveling south towards Toronto, and I think New York got a bit of the smog and all that other stuff as well. But anyways, I'm curious what's causing it, and then if it could also be some type of foreshadowing to what's going on in the US, or what would potentially happen in the Americas, the US and Canada specifically.
Aditya uses Twitter to call out the Delhi authorities, demanding action from his government to clean up Delhi's air.
I'm obviously angry because of my lung function test results, because there are millions of other students like me who must be suffering from such serious repercussions of pollution.
In November, Aditya files a public interest litigation on behalf of the millions of schoolchildren in Delhi to the Supreme Court of India.
So my parents asked me to shift to Pittsburgh to continue high school. However, I had to refuse because this is my home and I have to stay here and fight for my right to breathe.
On 25th November, the Supreme Court of India, the most powerful court in the land, steps in on behalf of citizens like Aditya. It takes the state governments of Delhi and the neighboring states of Punjab, Haryana, and Uttar Pradesh to task for violating Delhi's residents' right to life. The Supreme Court charges the governments to come out.
So it does seem like it's other cities or provinces, or I don't know what maybe they said it and it slipped over my mind, but it does seem like it's other areas that are causing the air pollution in Delhi.
Up with a plan to prevent another November crisis within 6 weeks. Senior advocate Abhijita Singh was appointed by the Supreme Court as one of its advisors in 2014. She's been litigating cases on pollution and environmental protection for over 20 years.
When we're talking specifically about air pollution, it's actually covered by Article 21 of the Constitution, which is right to life. And that's the most fundamental provision in the Constitution. So we asked the court to summon the chief secretaries of all the states. Chief secretary, being the highest executive officer of the state, had to take onus.
Tamsil Hussain is the co-founder of Let Me Breathe, India's largest online platform dedicated to pollution-related stories. As a citizen journalist, Tamsil carries out his own inquiries into the causes of Delhi's chronic problems and possible solutions, and makes them available online. He gave us access to his current investigations.
You're literally waking up, getting out of your house, going through a gas chamber, where you know you are stuck. It's like you're stuck in a box full of smoke and you can't do anything. a lot of people were anxious and angry about sharing what's going on with their health, what's going on with their kids.
इसी smoke के कारण a lot of people in my circle has got hospitalized.
That dude's
We get
mustache
about
is
more than
amazing.
3,000 to 4,000 stories which are visual and written in nature, submitted to our platform, and we get millions and millions of viewers who watch it.
इसी air quality के कारण we haven't seen the sun from a couple of days now.
It's literally, it's just smoke.
Tamsil is now working on his next story for these millions of viewers. He wants to find out why air pollution levels were so high in November 2019. Undercover Asia follows him on his quest.
Hey Varun, how's it going? Hey Tamsil, how are you doing?
First, Tamsil is meeting Barun Agarwal to find out exactly how bad the air was in Delhi in November. An entrepreneur and environmentalist, Barun helps Delhi residents figure out exactly what they are breathing. To do this, he's developed low-cost air quality sensors.
I believe that data is the first step towards doing anything, whether it is activism, whether it is fixing the problem for yourself, or whether it is fixing your problem outdoors. AQI stands for Air Quality Index. Every country makes its own index with regards to what is good, what is poor, what is bad, what is hazardous or extremely poor. So they have a scale which is color-coded for the layman to understand good, bad, ugly. However, it is related to the PM 2.5 number, which is a little bit different to the actual AQI number.
PM 2.5 is short for particulate matter 2.5. Fine particles are...
That pollution is crazy. It looks like fog. It doesn't even look like it's... I don't even know like what to call it, like pollute. It looks like fog. And it's crazy that people bring this in and it just tears up their lungs.
Droplets in the air that are less than 2.5 microns in width. These invisible particles make Delhi's air deadly, especially during the winter.
2019, how were the November readings? So most of the sensors that are there outdoors that are available, you don't go above 999, and most of them hit that 999 threshold. We've got a particular sensor which is a little bit more expensive, and we got readings of 1800 micrograms per cubic meter during that 1 week, 2 weeks of November. By virtue of living in Delhi, a 5-year-old has smoked about 10,000 cigarettes.
Jesus Christ, that's crazy.
There's clear statistical and scientific evidence that it creates ischemic heart disease and pulmonary problems in patients. And people line up outside hospitals because of problems related to these issues.
In November, Dr. Arvind Kumar...
Something that makes me think about with this issue is there are people who have homes, like as we saw, like the first guy, he moved his family to Delhi from a different city, and their child, they didn't want to take their child outside. But it makes me wonder about those people who are less fortunate than that guy, who don't have a home or don't have clean air or air conditioning or heating, and they're stuck outside, or we might be stuck in forgive me if this sounds bad in any way, but like a hut or like a shed which doesn't have the capability to, well, for one, filter air, but also keep air outside instead of inside. And just think about those kids who are breathing in that type of smoke, or babies. It's sad.
Was on the front line of the crisis. He sees firsthand the damage done to the lungs of Delhi's citizens.
Did we see an increase in the number of patients coming to us during the month of November? The answer is a big yes.
Seeing this makes me, I know I keep pausing it. I don't want to talk over them. It makes me wonder if there's like a lung transplant industry out there where, they're just purchasing a bunch of lungs and trying to help people who have some form of lung disease or weakened lungs. Anyways, let's see if they might even talk about it later on. Who knows?
So people are having asthmatic attacks more and more. People are having pneumonias. Public is paying a heavy price for that in terms of health damage.
In November 2019, Dr. Arvind Kumar wanted to demonstrate to the public the terrible toll that breathing in large amounts of PM 2.5 can wreak on your lungs. So he had a pair of scaled-up artificial lungs constructed outside Sir Gangaram Hospital, one of Delhi's busiest.
The material used here is HEPA filter, which is actually the material that we use in the air conditioning systems for trapping the particulate matter. And in order to mimic the process of breathing, we put exhaust fans behind these lungs. When we installed this on day 1, it was chalk white in color. That's how the HEPA filter is to begin with. To our horror, within a few hours, it started changing the color. By day 5, just see how the color had changed.
The lungs are the first destination for the particles. Then their deadly effects start to race through the rest of the body.
So when these particles go inside, and a large number of them are known carcinogens, cancer-causing agents. So when you have these deposited in your lungs, they keep causing inflammation locally, and they also keep releasing those chemicals into the blood, which affects brain, which affects your heart, which affects blood pressure system, reproductive system. There is no system in the body which escapes the ill effects of these chemicals.
But why does Delhi's air get so dirty in the winter? Delhi's air is in fact poor all year round. According to Air Visual, a Swiss-based organization that gathers global data on air quality, Delhi was the most polluted capital city in the world in 2019. Its second time clinching that title. The same year, the city only had 2 days of good air, when the air quality index was under 50. But in November, the density of the deadly PM 2.5 particles explodes, and it becomes visible as smog. The cause of this sudden escalation occurs outside the city, in Delhi's neighboring states of Punjab, Haryana, and Uttar Pradesh. For every winter, farmers set thousands of fires across the region to burn stubble.
Delhi has already got its own pollution sources, but that stubble burning...
That kind of goes back to what I was saying when there is that forest fire in Ontario maybe a year or two ago in 2020. I think it was 2022. Maybe it was 20. I think it might have been. It might have been 2022 or 2023. But regardless, the fire. I mean, I remember breathing in the air when I got off a flight into Canada, and I had the window down, and I was like, man, this feels weird. I was like, the sky was a little bit red and smoggy, and seems like fire is the same issue that they're having in New Delhi. Now, they said they do the fires in the winter time, so I wonder if those air like the particles of the smog or the pollution are just hovering around, and then the fires every winter just kind of reignite that the pollution in that area. Because if Delhi is the worst city, but I'm curious if those other areas who are burning the crops are also having the same issue as Delhi, but since they're not a major city, it's just not reported as being as high because it's just not as tracked.
Sort of tips us over and takes us from bad air to extremely bad air, toxic air.
But 5 years ago, stubble burning was banned. Officially, it is illegal.
We were expecting the number of stubble burnings to go down, and actually it went up.
Why do farmers continue to burn their stubble and flout the law? And can they be stopped? At the end of 2019, Delhi is named the pollution capital of the world,
In India, air pollution remains at hazardous levels.
The air quality index at the US
Overwhelmed by deadly smog, the city grinds to a halt.
We just want a solution and we need it fast. So there needs to be an immediate relief right now.
The Supreme Court orders the city and neighboring states to come up with a plan and issues a directive to stop crop burning in Punjab. Some 300 kilometers away from the capital, farmer Sukhvinder Singh is destroying rice paddy straw left over from his harvest. What he's doing is against the law and has been since 2015. But for him and most other farmers, there is little choice.
वो तो हमारे को भी मालूम तो है पोल्यूशन होता है, पर इसका हल क्या है? पुलिस पकड़ ले, ये बंद कर दे, हम डरते नहीं किसी को बस। अब हमने बच्चे पाले, हम रोटी कैसे खाएंगे बच्चों को?
He's one of many farmers brazenly flouting the law. Every winter, more than 2 million farmers like Sukhvinder in the states around Delhi burn about 23 million tons of paddy straw on over 80,000 square kilometers of land. That's the size of a small country like Austria. For years, NASA's satellites have tracked crop burning in Punjab. They pass over the region twice a day and reveal how smoke from the fires soon covers a huge region, which includes Delhi.
So this is imagery that you're actually seeing from a NASA satellite and the way it perceives crop fire burnings. There's enough credibility to establish that this indeed does predict or suggest, okay, the level of burning. It's Western UP is very little.
Karthik Ganesan analyzes the data on stubble burning and makes reports based on it. These fires can contribute up to 40% of the air pollution in Delhi during winter. But why does crop burning in Punjab have such a...
I don't want to talk over. So there are other issues that are also contributing. So I was thinking that the fires may be like more than... I was thinking it was going to be like 70 to 60% of why there's pollution in Delhi. But I'm curious if the fires are the main reason at 40%, and then there are other little reasons, like there might be car pollution might be 10%. Factory pollution might be 20%, and you know, other little things that add up, and the fires are 40% of the cause. But we'll see. We shall see.
Disastrous impact in Delhi. It's all to do with climate and geography. Delhi is landlocked and is flanked by mountains. In winter, slow wind movement is ineffective in dispersing.
Now, this might be an interesting documentary to watch. Another documentary, but the Himalayas. I know that I think how do you pronounce it correctly? It's the Sikhs. Man, I learned so much about the Sikhs. I met one at a previous company I worked at, and he taught me the history of the Sikhs and like the warriors in ancient India and the Himalayas, and it's so interesting. But I didn't realize how close the Himalayas were to Delhi. I wonder if you're able to see the Himalayas from Delhi.
Dispersing pollutants. When the huge clouds reach Delhi, the unique conditions of winter trap the smoke in a deadly haze blanket that shrouds the city.
And when you have all of that pollution basically sitting there, you've basically got this kind of cauldron cooking kind of phenomenon.
But the burning issue is not a new problem.
This also reminds me of something I was thinking about a couple years ago. It's interesting how, as you know, society or human society or countries decide where to put major cities. So, for example, in the U.S., a lot of major cities are there's few major cities that are landlocked, but a lot of major cities are going to be bordering the sea or maybe bordering a huge lake, such as Chicago or Detroit. Atlanta's landlocked, Houston, I mean not Houston, Dallas, Oklahoma City. But it makes me also just, anyways, we're kind of going off topic, but it makes me wonder, like, when it comes to the positioning of what you're going to create a major city, these type of things should be try to be forecasted ahead of time because of the positioning of Delhi. It seems like it was bound to happen that this place was going to be an issue. I'm uncertain if the farmers were burning and were burning their crops and that the area of Delhi was already polluted. But it just seems like this is going to be an extremely difficult issue. And I'm curious if Delhi were to be a city that were to try and, I remember it was this one guy I talked to at Google like years ago. He was telling me that Google was trying to build dome cities out of glass or like some type of material. And it makes me wonder if Delhi were to encase themselves in a dome or some type of structure to help ease the pollution, or they had some type of technology outside of the city that blocked pollution from entering in, like maybe like some type of like open air filter. If that would also cause issues for the neighboring towns and states around Delhi, because that pollution is going to have to come somewhere. But then you also kind of have to think about what is going to be the most advantageous for the population as a whole in that area of India. Anyway, these are just some thoughts that have kind of come from watching this video so far. We're going to 20 minutes, and then I'll probably watch this video later on the day or tomorrow. But we'll finish it, and yeah, so let's get back into it.
2015, Punjab and Delhi's other neighbouring states were directed to ban stubble burning by a special court dedicated to environmental matters in India. They were to impose fines of up to 15,000 rupees, or $200 on those breaking the law.
There is a law that's in place, but at the end of the day, it's about the agency's ability to follow through on that and to actually sort of pose a credible threat to the farmer, saying, you know what, there is this penalty that I'm going to levy and then I'm going to extract out of you. But for a bulk of the time, they're actually indifferent to what the farmer does. And rightly so, because they constitute.
So this kind of comes down, in my view, to like the economics or cause and effect. Because if you do find these farmers and they decide to pay and you don't arrest them, they'll continue to farm, they'll take the risk of getting fined, but then let's say that you do arrest them, somebody else is going to come in and do the exact same thing. But then it's also going to affect, I always get these two confused, effect and effect. I always end up having to look it up, but I'm not going to look it up for these videos. We'll just go with effect for now. So if you do find these farmers and put them in jail, and then let's just say you eventually run out of farmers, that's going to cause another issue with food supply for the region, or maybe the small towns nearby, or even Delhi. So it's like a catch-22. Or I can't think of a better word for it, but it's like you're kind of stuck between like a rock and a hard place, if that makes sense. Like, if you get rid of the farmers, if you find these farmers to where they can't grow the crops the way they need to, then you end up having food shortages and all these other things, and it's gonna affect their GDP of India and all that type of other stuff. And it's like, where do you kind of find that balance between limiting the pollution, but then not also causing some type of economic collapse within the region?
A large voter base, and more importantly, no clear alternatives have been given to them.
Now that I'm thinking about it, there could be a way to solve the issue. Now this is way out of my area of expertise, but what if there were some type of farming technique or farming equipment or something that just isn't available to these farmers? And then if that technology is out there, should it be subsidized by the Indian government to, or even Delhi, to help ease the pollution that's going on in Delhi? I mean, usually those type of things are, but I'm uncertain on Indian politics and if they do subsidize like equipment and techniques or whatever for farmers.
Citizen journalist Tamsil Hussain is working on his next report for Let Me Breathe, India's largest online platform for pollution-related stories.
In November, the smog in Delhi gets so thick that your eyes burn and your throat feels clogged. At times, you can actually taste the pollution. One of the reasons why this actually happens is because farmers in our region burn stubble. According to research, one of the states that burns the most amount of stubble is Punjab.
Tamsil is exploring the impact of the latest Supreme Court order to stop the burning, and is in Punjab. He plans to interview some of the farmers to get their side of the story. Damendra Singh farms less than half a square kilometre of land in the Ropa district of Punjab. For nearly 10 years, he's been burning rice paddy straw left over from the harvest to prepare his land for wheat planting season.
हम लोग पहले जो ये चावल की खेती है, मई में इसकी क्रॉप लगानी शुरू कर देते थे। मई से चलता चलता धीरे धीरे और उसको लंबा टाइम मिल जाता था। अब 2009 से गवर्नमेंट ने हमारे पे एक लॉ लगा दिया, आप लोग 15 जून से पहला चोना नहीं लगा सकते, और एकदम सारी फसल लग गई, एकदम उसकी कटाई शुरू होगी। और कणक और चावल में जो डिफरेंस है कटाई या बुआई का, वो कम हो गया। उसको कॉमन मेड़ने के लिए सारी पराली एकदम आग लगानी पड़ती है, जल्दी से जल्दी खेत खाली होता, अगली बीट क्रॉप इस बार बिजाई हो सके।
Farmers in Punjab grow both rice and wheat. A decade earlier, farmers planted rice in the summer month of May. But that practice was depleting groundwater. To avoid this, the Punjab government passed a law in 2009. They pushed the planting of rice from May to June to take advantage of the monsoon rains. It worked. The decline in groundwater reserves slowed down. But there was a downside. The rice harvest season too got pushed from late September to late October. This gave farmers less time to clear their fields to plant their wheat crop, which is a winter crop that needs to be sowed by November. Without the winter chill, the wheat plants would not flower.
चावल की कटाई और बीट की बुझाई, इन दोनों में डिफरेंस सिर्फ 15 दिन का होता है। उसके साथ जो आग लगाते हैं तभी खेत जल्दी खाली होता है।
So I kind of was in the right direction. So it is somewhat of a technique issue, or maybe some type of technology issue, with giving them only 15 days to go from, I think it was rice to wheat. That's barely any time. Because what I was thinking was maybe there's some type of machine that could, dig up the I think they call it the bushel, or this like the stem or something like that from the rice crop. But if you're thinking about a farm, you're talking about, let's just say you got 20 or 30 acres of land as a farmer, and to pull up or dig up those bushels, or the stubble from the previous crop would take a decent amount of time. And then to also plant the wheat within 15 days. So you're giving yourself, like, let's just say you give yourself 50% of the time. You're giving yourself 7 days or 7.5 days to pull up the rice, and then also another 7.5 days to plant the wheat, which is almost no time. I mean, who knows how many people that they have on staff or if it's just a family-run farm or anything like that. So I would think there would be some type of machinery that could make this more advantageous for the farmers to meet their deadline for what they have to plant, and then also stop them from taking the more, I guess, efficient route, but also dangerous route of burning the crop. But there has to be something. I know there has to be some type of farmer out there who's just never known what the issue was going on in India. It's just like, oh, it's an easy fix, you know? But we'll wait to the next segment and then we'll end this video.
2009 Act, passed to save Punjab's groundwater reserves, led to farmers having to harvest their rice crop in late October. And the fastest way to clear the leftover crop for wheat? Burning the stubble, in direct conflict with the 2015 directive banning stubble burning.
Stubble burning. Okay, I just need to remember that and say it out loud.
The two contradictory laws put the farmers in a bind. Plant rice earlier in the year, get fined. Plant rice later, burn the crop stubble, get fined. And the latest Supreme Court order takes this predicament one step further. It's proposing increasing the fines for burning.
This is also an idea. You know, I know a lot of people are against genetically modified foods or crops or anything of that nature. And I am as well. Like, I don't think that it's beneficial, but I mean, I'm just saying it like with this issue, I'm curious if some type of genetically modified rice and wheat would be beneficial for the issue going on in Delhi. And I'm not justifying and saying that genetically modified foods are good or saying that it's bad, but I'm just an idea that crossed my mind for what the issue is going on. Like, if there's a way to where they didn't have to burn because of genetically modified rice stubble, just once it was cut down, or maybe it was just easier. I don't know. There has to be some way that this issue could be solved, and I'm just spitting out ideas.
But the farmers are fighting back. They're refusing to take the blame and the possibility of paying more fines. They've engaged the help of this man.
Okay, this seems like a good point to stop. It's almost around the halfway point. A little shy of it, but it looks like they're changing segment. So we're gonna call this a video for now. I hope you learned something. I learned something new about Delhi and pollution. And just also some of the issues that are going on in the world that I had no idea about. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. And until the next one, peace.